On an August morning in 2025, a strangely comical headline from the war in Ukraine rolled out of the Western press. A Russian MiG-29 had been fitted with an unusual weapon under its wing. The footage looked more like a parody than weapons testing, yet it spread fast, dissected as if Moscow had unveiled a new program. Analysts mocked the design, sites piled on, and the clip became a viral punchline. But while the world was busy laughing, the reality was unfolding elsewhere. Behind the scenes, Russia's most famous arms maker was cutting a deal to create a new type of arsenal. In the end, the joke was on the West. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in the spring of 2022, first-person view, or FPV, drones have become the signature weapon of the war. They're cheap to build, easy to adapt, and guided with the precision of video game controls. Now increasingly paired with AI-assisted navigation, these improvised munitions have rewritten how battles are fought. They've been cleverly sneaking through trenches, striking with pinpoint accuracy, and have destroyed everything from Russia's lumbering turtle tanks to state-of-the-art United States-supplied Abrams. The FPV's role has grown so central that commanders and analysts alike now compare them directly to artillery in terms of battlefield importance. Demand for FPVs is rising faster than ever, not only for one-way strikes, but also for reconnaissance, surveillance, and battlefield scouting. In Ukraine, production is coordinated through government-sponsored competitions and a network of startups and workshops turning out thousands of drones. Engineers receive near-instant feedback from the front, allowing them to refine designs from batch to batch. In December 2024, Kyiv announced an ambition to manufacture 1 million FPV drones in a single year. Even civilian builders had been encouraged to contribute through what's called the People's Drone Project. Russia has raced to keep pace, though much of its development has come from grassroots volunteers rather than centralized programs. Among these groups, one of the best known is Archangel. Founded in 2022 by independent drone developers, it quickly grew into a coordinated project with training hubs in Moscow, Crimea, and Zaporizhia. More than 500 specialists, from technicians to drone racing pilots, now pass through its courses. The group's flagship product, the Archangel drone, is advertised with impressive performance. It claimed top speeds of up to 215 miles per hour, payloads between 1.5 and 15 pounds, and an operational range of about 31 miles. It can be launched from land, ships, or even aircraft, with enough agility for repeated attack runs. Developers describe it as a guided missile capable of striking vehicles, bunkers, boats, and other high-value targets. Founder Mikhail Filippov has even suggested that interceptor variants can work alongside radar and air defense systems, taking targeting data directly from ground stations. In April, test flights reportedly reached altitudes near 5,000 feet, with practice runs against both air and ground targets. In June, trials were conducted in Crimea with favorable results. Just in time, in August 2025, Kalashnikov, the arms maker responsible for the creation of the AK-47, formalized a partnership with Archangel. Under the deal, the arms maker will trial grassroots designs under real combat conditions, then shift the most effective models into industrial production at its factories. But at the very moment this serious step forward was announced, Russia also did something most Western militaries would never dare. They made a joke. Only days before the alliance's announcement, online headlines across the West buzzed with a strange set of images. The footage, credited to Archangel, showed a quadcopter interceptor drone strapped beneath the outer wing of a Russian Aerospace Forces MiG-29 SMT, hanging where an air-to-air missile would normally sit. Other shots included a member of the Archangel team posing in the Fulcrum's cockpit before cutting to a takeoff sequence of a Flanker Series jet with no drone in sight. The caption that accompanied the clip described the setup as ideal placement, even suggesting it could deliver the interceptor directly into Ukrainian territory. At first glance, it carried the look of a new Russian experiment. But on closer inspection, the quadcopter was held in place with nothing more than plastic zip ties. Despite having no release system, no stabilization at speed, and no evidence that it could be used in flight, this didn't stop the images from spreading. And soon, dozens of outlets picked them up, dissecting the supposed creation as if it were a legitimate program. To the analysts, the flaws were glaringly obvious. A fighter cruising at 500 miles per hour would overwhelm a quadcopter designed for a fraction of that speed, tossing it into turbulence before the rotors could even stabilize. Its video links and control signals would fail almost instantly, and the exposed propellers had no chance against the stresses of jet flight. Analysts even questioned whether the fulcrum could take off safely with the drone strapped to its wing, or whether the placement risked interfering with the jet's own defensive systems. Even if every one of those problems could somehow be solved, the idea itself was still nonsensical. No Air Force in the world would risk a multi-million-dollar jet to deliver what amounts to a hobby-class drone. From there, it became the subject of serious technical breakdowns, speculative threat analysis, and worried discussion. Yet the MiG-29 mothership was never a program at all, but a prop. Satire dressed up as demonstration, posed with tongue firmly in cheek, humor that became lost in translation. In Russia, this gag was nothing more than dry humor in the middle of a brutal war. According to the official sardonic message, quote, "Of course, the drone itself moves a bit faster than our drone's cruising speed, but it can deliver the interceptors straight to Kyiv. The communication issue has been solved. We simply trained our crew to pilot the fighter jet." Though meant only as a humorous post, even ending with the phrase, quote, "As they say, no obstacles from patriots," the joke didn't stay local, and the clip was picked up by Western military watchers, the message taken literally, even by some of the most respected figures in the open-source intelligence community. This public relations stunt is not new. Since the Cold War, Moscow has taunted Washington with exaggerated stories and stage displays. In 1957, Premier Nikita Khrushchev brazenly bragged that Soviet factories were producing so many intercontinental missiles they were rolling off the assembly lines like sausages, a wild claim that sparked genuine fear amongst American citizens of a massive missile gap, while in reality, the USSR only had a handful of launchers at the time. A decade later, US satellites spotted the Caspian Sea Monster, a massive ground effect vehicle skimming over water. And analysts convinced themselves it might be a new kind of strategic bomber, when it was only a prototype. The tactic has always been the same: feed the West just enough to let imagination fill in the rest. Even arms dealer Kalashnikov has done this before. At the 2018 Army Weapons Expo, just outside of Moscow, the company set up a fearsome two-legged machine they called Igorek, a hulking frame that looked less like a battlefield asset and more like something borrowed from a low-budget science fiction film. Standing 13 feet tall and weighing more than 4 tons, the mock-up was described as a future armored walker, complete with space for a pilot and the promise of firing heavy weapons from articulated claws. While the uncanny design, equal parts exosuit and science fiction robot, was implausible from the start, it still made headlines around the world. However, the publicity stunt seems to have buried the actual news. Moscow is turning hobby drones into a state-backed arsenal. More than a corporate deal, the 2025 agreement gives Kalashnikov the factories and Archangel the field experience, creating a powerful joint venture. For the first time, Moscow has formally recognized that its so-called people's defense industry has generated combat-proven designs that the state cannot ignore. Under the partnership, Archangel will continue doing what it already does best on the front line: sift through designs from hobbyists and small teams, fly them in combat, and see which ones survive. The difference is that now Kalashnikov, its leadership, resources, and most importantly its funding, is standing behind the process, ready to turn those field experiments into standardized, powerful, and highly technological weapons. Its factories provide scale, and its training divisions will shape a new generation of operators, drawing not only on in-house models, but also on the ad hoc systems once built in garages. Since the announcement, Archangel has even confirmed a new training and development hub in the Zaporizhia region. Laboratories for tactics and integration will sit within reach of the front line, where lessons can be pulled directly from combat and fed back into production. The intent of the deal is clear: eliminate the lag between battlefield innovation and industrial output. So while the world's biggest analysts collectively laughed at a drone zip-tied to a MiG, all eyes were on the gag as Kalashnikov was institutionalizing Russia's drone war. The make-believe incident confirms that even after all these years, Russian propaganda can still cause quite a stir in the West and be perceived as a genuine threat. For nearly 80 years now, through all its ups, downs, and regime changes, Russia's sharpest tool remains misinformation, projecting imaginary power to make adversaries hesitate while it scales the weapons that are most definitely not a joke.